It is 3:14 a.m. The house is completely quiet, but your mind is wide awake, obsessively replaying a minor, awkward conversation you had with a colleague 12 hours ago. Modern culture frames this wakefulness as a system failure. We are told to fix it with weighted blankets, strict sleep hygiene, or white noise, labeling these racing thoughts as evidence of clinical anxiety or a failing brain. However, viewing this as a malfunction misses what the human brain is actually trying to accomplish in the dark. When you try to force yourself back to sleep, you often trigger the rebound effect. Research shows that the mental energy used to suppress an intrusive thought actually increases the frequency and intensity of that thought once you stop trying to control it. People who replay conversations at 3 in the morning do not necessarily have broken or pathologically anxious minds. Your brain is simply demanding the bandwidth to finish a biological processing sequence that the waking day interrupted. During the day, our roles as professionals, partners, or parents require constant emotional containment. We maintain our composure and swallow our genuine reactions to keep our lives running smoothly. Polyvagal theory explains that this composure relies on the ventral vagal system, which allows us to stay regulated during social interactions. When we can't express ourselves in the moment, the nervous system files those reactions away as incomplete cycles. These unexpressed emotions do not just go away, they accumulate as a hidden physiological backlog throughout the day. The nervous system keeps its own books, and the cost of maintaining that daytime composure is a debt that eventually must be reconciled. When you finally lie down, external demands vanish. This signals the brain's default mode network to power up and begin sorting through your memories and social interactions. As you move towards sleep, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that manages rational logic, reduces its activity. This leaves the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, highly reactive and unchecked. In the quiet of the night, your nervous system finally has the bandwidth to open the emotional files it couldn't touch during the day. If this nighttime processing is a necessary biological function, why does it so often feel like a torturous, repeating loop? There is a critical difference between healthy processing, which leads to insight, and unproductive rumination, which rehearses the same pain without finding a resolution. This clinical model shows how physical distress and cognitive activity feed into one another, creating an escalating state of wakefulness. This cycle often originates as a childhood survival strategy to avoid punishment. While once protective, this hypervigilance becomes an automatic, persistent setting. When this childhood defense mechanism stays active in adulthood, it hijacks a natural biological healing process and turns your rest into a battleground. Treating the 3 a.m. wake-up as a biological necessity rather than a disease is the only way to stop the long-term accumulation of emotional debt. The first step is to explicitly stop fighting the intrusive thought. Accepting its presence immediately disarms the rebound effect. Next, practice interoceptive awareness. This involves observing physical sensations in the body, like a racing heart or a knot in your stomach, without attaching a scary story or a catastrophic narrative to them. You will know you've transitioned from rumination to genuine processing when you feel a physical release of tension, rather than the tightening, exhausting feeling of a mental loop. By neutrally observing instead of fighting, you allow the nervous system to finally close the open loop and transform that tension into calm. We can prevent this debt from accumulating by clearing the emotional backlog before the sun goes down. Try carving out 5-minute pockets of complete silence during the day and schedule 15 minutes of worry time in the afternoon while your prefrontal cortex is still active enough to solve problems. Finally, implement a strict technology disconnect an hour before bed to prevent cognitive overload right before your brain shifts its focus inward. The 3 a.m. replay is your mind asking for permission to finish the work the day interrupted. Granting that permission is how you finally resolve the cycle and rest.